The moment has finally come. Russian oligarchs are getting locked up at Putin's order. Not like I regret, they have certainly deserved that. What's interesting here is the political landscape of Russian Federation is starting to shift, to change. And do I have a treat for you today? I will illustrate one of the arrests with a very personal story that you are going to find fascinating. So you will understand exactly what is happening in Russia right now. And I will tell you the names too. Howdy, everyone. My name is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia. Our usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. As usual, you will not find any lies, BS, or propaganda. Instead, you will find lots of truth, common sense, and logic, and emotions too, because I am a human being after all. Now, today is not going to be a very long message, and it'll consist of 4 parts. They are: number 1, who are Russian oligarchs? Number 2, why do Russian oligarchs play an important role in Putin's Russia? Number 3, a personal story of one of the arrests of the oligarchs. And number 4, what to expect next. So let's start with number 1. Who are Russian oligarchs? Where'd they come from? Russian oligarchs are wealthy businessmen who control a significant part of country's resources and exert great influence on the government, or perhaps exerted great influence on the government. You see, after the fall of the USSR, we all in Russia started fresh and fairly equal. All of us had nothing except for a few Politburo members and perhaps KGB bosses, but they're negligible. And we jumped into the capitalistic rat race of getting rich. The oligarchs are those who have won the race, those who were smarter, stronger, more perceptive, more sly, more ruthless than the rest of us. In the 90s, there were a couple dozens of oligarchs who got rich by privatizing old Soviet enterprises and becoming owners of vast natural resources. In 2024, they were 110 billionaires in Russia, and all have been connected to Putin in one way or another. I will explain how they are connected a little bit later in this video. Number 2. Why do Russian oligarchs play an important role in Putin's Russia? After the demise of the USSR, the only real power and resource left in the country became money. Before, Soviet government held absolute power over everyone. But so that the resource was the control. The USSR fell and the government's power vanished into thin air. The government itself was nearly non-existent. Us regular people, we did not feel the role of the government. It was so little that people didn't pay any attention to it. The KGB disappeared from the public eye. It existed somewhere in the shadows, but it was not visible to us. The federal police was a very weak force. No one really counted on the federal police to keep the law and order. Money ruled Russia in the first 10 years. Power and force could be bought for money. And the oligarchs, the super rich billionaires, were buying power left and right. They were buying the police, the KGB, the politicians, the TV channels and newspapers, everything. and were buying everything. Power was a function of money. Control was a function of money. And then along came Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin is a man of a completely different system. The Soviet system. He was growing up and serving in the KGB when money was insignificant. He had a successful career in the KGB when it wasn't about money. Vladimir Putin was getting meager money as the KGB officer, active agent. Instead, he had an incredible control of other people. The real power back then was control. That's how Vladimir Putin was growing up in that system. And obviously, Putin decided to revive the old system. For 20 years, he was first building this system called the vertical of power, then finessing it. And as a result, Russia's the social system in Putin's Russia is that control is the real power, and the money is the function of power, of the control. Now, those in power, those siloviki, those who are armed by law and are allowed by law to use force against Russian citizens. The politicians, Putin's friends, Putin's close circle, they exercise power to receive money, billions of dollars, one way or another. The oligarchs now in Russia are those who receive money from Putin or received money from Putin. Or it's one of the old timers from the 90s. And then Putin just graciously allows them to keep their money and use the resources that they received in the 90s. Now the oligarchs are considered not power players they used to be in the 90s, not anymore. They are considered as wallets of Putin, his friends, KGB generals, those who have control. The old KGB system of control is back. Okay, this is why the oligarchs now are important, or actually not so important as they were in the 90s. Before I jump to number 3, to the personal story, I think this is going to be the most interesting part of today's live stream, because this is so exclusive. It happened to one of my friends. You will not find it anywhere. So I would like to take this opportunity to take a sip of this wonderful English breakfast tea. My throat is betraying me today a little bit. It's... But anyway, I also would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who's watching right now, everyone who is a part of Inside Russia community. Thank you so very much. Thank you for watching, commenting, interacting, liking. Thank you for writing me encouragements. Thank you for praying along with me and for me and sending me love. Thank you for buying me coffees at buymecoffee.com, supporting through Patreon and PayPal. Means a lot to me. Thank you so much. You motivate me. You give me energy to keep on going. Still demonetized, but I give you promise, and I do it every day. No matter monetized or demonetized, I will keep on going. Will not give up. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now let me tell you the personal story. I'll start with Tashkent Breakfast Club. It is a support group that consists of those Russians who fled Russia for political reasons, or should I say, escaped Russia, and those Ukrainians who fled the war. I created Tashkent Breakfast Club around 3 years ago to get my kind of people together around me in Tashkent to support each other, to network, and to help make it through these hard times. Because having someone in the same situation around you can speak to, you can complain, you can cry to, is much better than going through this hard time alone. So, Tashkent Breakfast Club has been a tremendous success. There are over 1,000 members in different countries. Yes, we are international. And what I'm proud about is what kind of people compose Tashkent Breakfast Club. I call them the cream of the crop, the best Russia has to offer. All with high education, with diverse background, with different professions, all good hearts, because we don't welcome not good hearts in Tashkent Breakfast Club. And all are incredibly intellectually pleasing to talk to. And one of our members, a person I call my friend, told me a story yesterday of an oligarch that person knows, he knows. A member of a private group of friends back in Moscow, sort of Tashkent Breakfast Club only for businessmen. This oligarch was also one of the members of that group, a private club, so to speak, Moscow Breakfast Businessmen Club. These people met, spent weekends together, traveled together, did day trips. So my friend told me a personal story. He said that he met this small oligarch last time in the summer of 2024 when he briefly visited Moscow for a few days. The guy, let's call him Maxim, had an interesting conversation with my friend. They discussed things, and among other things, they discussed what was going on in Russia and Ukraine. And Maxim started complaining of Europe. He was saying that, look, Europe has betrayed us, the new Russian elite. And he proudly was calling himself a part of the new Russian elite, the rich people. He said that all new Russian elite was betting on Europe, buying real estate in Europe, vacationing in Europe, sending families to Europe, transferring money to Europe. Europe was like second home for them. And then Europe betrayed. Europe put sanctions on them. Europe started seizing properties. Europe started freezing bank accounts for one simple reason: for supporting the war in Ukraine. You see, the oligarchs, a lot of them started working for the military industrial complex, and in general, they were paying lots of taxes in Russia, and none of them actually left Russia, okay? So they kept on paying, and they kept on supporting the war. And he said that Europe rejected them, betrayed them. He emphasized the betrayal. Europe betrayed. The West betrayed them. So all this new Russian elite, this oligarchs, all the new and those who are around oligarchs, there's quite a few people, he used this term, accepted Putin and united around him. The new elite, they were helping Putin, and they were planning on continuing to do so. The new elite made their choice. And he went on and on about how Putin was doing a good thing. He was steering the country into the right direction, how great Putin was, and how Putin was their new leader. Forget Europe, forget the West. It's Putin, and the new Russian elite supports Putin. Um, my friend said that listening to Maxim almost made him sick because my friend does not support Putin. Okay. Well, let's fast forward 9 months. 9 months after that conversation took place, where Maxim praised Putin and he was bragging how this new elite he was a member of was embracing and supporting Putin. So, fast forward 9 months. On March 28th, 2025, the owner of the company where Maxim worked as a CEO was arrested. Maxim was arrested along with his boss and charged with theft and fraud. The company I'm talking about here is called Rusagro. The founder and the owner of Rusagro, the member of Forbes 500, the global billionaire list, is Vadim Mashkovich. And the former CEO of Rusagro, the person who praised Putin, is Maxim Basov. They both were detained and charged with personal approval of Vladimir Putin, the person who they both supported, embraced, and bragged about how great he was. How do I know it was Putin? Well, very simple. Putin is about control. And if anyone arrests an oligarch in Russia without Putin's knowing or approval, it is a big problem for Putin. Because in this case, it means that control is slipping through his fingers, okay? A person from the Forbes 500 or 400, the richest global oligarchs list, cannot be arrested without Putin's approval or Putin's order in Russia. So that was Putin who ordered to arrest Mashkovich and Maxim Basov for different things. And I think the charges are made up. But basically, that's Putin's answer for those people embracing him and supporting him. Number 4, what to expect next? What happened to Mashkovich and Basov is not the first case. The clouds are darkening on, for example, Moscow's best airport operator Domodedovo, Kamenchik, and Kogan. Galitsky was forced to sell his business. Tinkov was forced to sell his business. There are some criminal cases open against oligarchs who left Russia and are residing in the West. Heck, Ramzan Kadyrov himself is in trouble, and a criminal investigation against him is expected to be open sometimes in the future. What we're seeing is a precedent. This is the beginning. Current oligarchs are becoming food supply for Putin's new elite, real new elite, Siloviki, the Praetorians, those who are supporting Putin's power by using violence against Russian people, and they are allowed to do that by new Russian laws. I personally don't feel bad for the oligarchs. I don't feel bad for Maxim Basov. They united around Putin, embraced and supported him. Well, the arrests serve them well. The most important thing here is we are seeing the political landscape of Russia moving, shifting. The boat starts rocking. And it's a good thing. Waiting for more arrests and more violent boat rocking. And I'll keep everyone updated in Patreon account on Inside Russia. You will find Russia's most important news, 9 news every single day, available to patrons. So please check it out. Remember, we are seeing the start of something real big. Russia is changing, and am sticking by my words that the victory for Ukraine will not come from the front lines. Instead, it will come from deep inside Russia. It will come from the Kremlin. And I think now, with the first arrests of these oligarchs, we are start seeing some movements towards that direction. Mark my words, and please keep on tuning in here to YouTube for daily videos and live streams where I will be updating you more. Carthago delenda est.